Hey you guys, hope you're doing well. I thought I would put together a quick video about the final paper as that is coming up. It always goes by quickly here in these short terms. So the final paper is a chance for you to demonstrate using some of the tools we've talked about in the class to a topic that's of interest to you. So really the first, you'll see in the content section on Blackboard, I've posted some documents about what I'm looking for in the paper. I've posted some sample topics. I've posted a grading rubric. The first big step is selecting a topic. And so a few points of advice on that. Pick something you're interested in. Really the criteria, I'm looking for a paper on a topic that deals with an environmental issue and has some economic component. I'm willing to take a pretty broad interpretation of that, meaning, there's a whole lot of topics that have an environmental and an economic component. So if you love movies and there's questions about whether filming practices have an effect on the environment, or maybe you want to live within the fictional world of that movie if it's a fictional movie and talk about an environmental issue in it. I'm willing to be pretty generous when it comes to saying, okay, what is dealing with the environment, what is dealing with economics. I give you pretty broad latitude on that. What I recommend is, beyond picking something you're interested in, pick a pretty narrow topic. And so I ask you in the paper description to kind of pick a general topic and then pick a policy that is dealing with it, either a real world policy, or you can kind of propose a policy. And so a good thing to do is start Googling, kind of things that you're interested in that have that environmental and economic component to them, and pull up a good news article or something. And use that as kind of a starting point. If it's talking about efforts to, I don't know, I was thinking about, I like sailing, I was thinking about marinas. Marinas are dealing with increased sea level rise in some places of the world due to climate change. And so in general, that's good for a marina, right? To have more water to work with, more water for boats to be maneuvering in, but it often also comes with increased risk of storm surge and such. And so they're talking about different ways to kind of adapt to a changing reality of how likely you are to have tropical storms and things like that. So if I started Googling tropical storms, marina adaptation, even a specific place, maybe Florida Panhandle or something, I can pull up news articles that then can be a good starting point for me. Give me some background information on the issue, talk about what efforts are being made, or at least discussions that are being had. You can use a cost-benefit analysis of a proposed policy as your starting point if you want. So instead of using a news article, you might use a government document. A lot of people in the past have used reports coming out of NGOs, so Nature Conservancy, or someone is writing about an issue. That could be a good kind of piece of material to base this off of. I say it should be narrow. Don't pick climate change as your topic, or deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. Those are important topics. Absolutely. They're also huge, right? There's no way you're going to be able to get into kind of a level of detailed discussion about such a big topic in a short paper like this. So take a bite-sized piece. If you want to talk about deforestation in the Amazon, great. Do a Google search for cost-benefit analysis of deforestation programs in the Amazon or something like that. Pick a specific province in Brazil or a specific project that's been done. There's a lot of NGOs working in that space. Look at one of their reports. Be more specific than just deforestation in general, even deforestation in the Amazon. That's still, we're talking about a huge thing. Narrow it down geographically or program-wise or both, and it'll be a lot better paper. It'll be a lot easier to write. If you look at the grading rubric, you'll be able to check all of those boxes in an easier way if you spend a little extra time on the front end picking a good topic that's appropriate scope for something like this. I'm happy to give you feedback if you're like, what the hell is he talking about? But you have some things that you're like, well, I'm interested in, I don't know, I'm interested in pesticide getting into food. I'm worried about Roundup on my strawberries or whatever it is that has piqued your interest for one reason or another. Send me an email that says, hey, I'm interested in these things, but I'm not sure how to turn that into a topic. I'm happy to help guide you to maybe, like I said, some resources that you could use as kind of a good starting point. As far as formatting, I'm not a stickler on APA or Chicago manual style or any particular formatting style, but do use references and do cite them. Do so in a consistent way so that it makes sense, so that I can follow it. Don't just use ChatGPT as your as your reference or Wikipedia. We're better than that. Do that next step of, okay, go to Wikipedia, use ChatGPT, absolutely, as a resource to help get you information, but then follow through on that. If it's Wikipedia, look at those source links at the bottom and pull up those sources instead of Wikipedia itself. Likewise with ChatGPT, ask it where it gets that information, ask it for a good source, and use that as your source. It's fine to have these tools to guide you there, but do the work that makes it a college level, 300 level course sort of final paper. There is a local to global component. This is a Colonnade Connection course. And so you'll see in the grading rubric, I'm looking for, as you talk about the background of the topic or the policy, some discussion of kind of a local to global scaling. With any environmental issue, you can do this, right? Obviously something related to climate change, there's the global component of climate change as a global phenomenon, but almost all the efforts to adapt to it are local. That's true with a lot of things. Some pollution is much more localized than that. It's a local problem that you have, soil contaminated in one particular area because there used to be a factory that released, a bunch of nasty solvents and fluids and things. That's fine. Say this is a global, situated on that local to global scale. You can almost always reference international efforts to deal with that sort of topic, even if it's a local issue. And in between local to global, I think of there being local to state to national to international or global. And so, if you want to talk about kind of how this topic relates to laws, regulation, efforts, at all of those levels, that's great, but you don't have to do all of that to do well in this paper. Just have some discussion of that local to global. That checks the boxes for what we need for the Colonnade, which is some recognition that when we're talking about environmental issues like we are, we can think about them on a local scale, we can think about them on a global scale, and you guys are able to kind of think in those terms and situate things in that way. All right, I will end this for now. If you have questions about stuff, let me know. Final paper will be due, just before midnight of Friday, the final day of class. So we've got a little bit of time, but man, it'll be here soon. You're not gonna have everything next week. You want to have a homework assignment next week. Try to give a little bit of extra space for time for working on that paper and getting it honed in. we'll talk again soon. Thanks.